Publix right now. I'm gonna make a keto cheesecake. For some reason I have this really
for cheesecake.
But a little bit about me. I have been on the keto diet for almost a year. It'll be a year, July 25th. I decided last year that I needed to not only lose weight but get healthy. I have been a little overweight most of my life, and it really has just bogged me down quite a bit. I have 2 kids. They need me to be more active for them. So I decided to change my lifestyle. It's been amazing for me. I've lost 100 pounds, and I will post some before and after photos. I decided to do this channel just because I know that there are so many people out there that want to do the keto diet, but they don't know where to start, or they don't want to give up things that like sweets or their soda or things like that. You have to keep in mind that there are so many different ways to do the keto diet, and everyone has their own way of doing it. I may be what some people call dirty or lazy keto. I don't do strict keto. I do try to track my macros. I will try to add macros for the things that I show you. The recipes that I have, I will be using some of my own recipes, as well as recipes that I get from like Pinterest and other people's vlogs and blogs and things like that. There are so many things that you can do with the keto diet. It's absolutely crazy. Anything that I'm craving, I can make into keto. So I don't miss anything. You can make keto breads, desserts, snacks. A lot of people think, oh, it's a lot of prep and a lot of cook time. I find joy in cooking. It makes me happy. I love the process. So I also have things that are quick snacks and things like that that I'll show you as well. But tonight we're gonna do a keto cheesecake. I'm gonna go into Publix. I live in Florida, so here we have Publix where I can get my sugar replacements. There are other places like Richard's Foodporium, Sprouts, Whole Foods. Sometimes if I want to order things in bulk, like the sugar replacements and the almond flour and coconut flour, I can get that on Amazon. There's so many resources. Anybody who I've ever talked to is like, where do I start? Well, you just have to start. You can't put it off. The more you put it off, the more excuses you're going to find not to do it. So with that being said, I'm going to go into Publix. In Publix, where I get my sugar replacement, I prefer to use either Swerve or monk fruit. For some reason, I have tried this and I don't care for it. Some people do. It's whatever you prefer. They also have regular stevia. I don't like the powder stevia, but I do like these. These are the flavored drops. You can put these in your coffee, or if you're making something, like I put them in, sometimes I'll make a whipped cream with heavy whipping cream, and I'll use these to flavor it. But for the cheesecake, we are going to use Swerve, and we're going to use the Confectioners. Here it's $7.99, but if you order in bulk online on Amazon, things like that, you can get it for a little bit cheaper. But for me, I am just going to grab this bag right now because I'm waiting on my package to come in the mail. So that is what I use for my sweetener. And then we need to get some almond flour, so we'll be back. So now we need to grab some almond flour. I have found that the super finely ground tends to have a better texture, so this is what I use. I will buy either this brand. They have a brand at Walmart that I use, just Walmart's brand is pretty good. Publix has their own brand. This one's really good. But you can tell when you feel it if this isn't as finely ground as this one. I mean, you can tell by squeezing it. And also coconut flour. So coconut flour is more absorbent. So when you bake, you're gonna probably you will definitely most of the time use more almond flour than coconut flour, but there are certain things that call for just coconut flour. So it just depends on what you're making. But for today, we are making a keto cheesecake, so we are going to get the almond flour. It's $9.99 here for this bag, but like I said, I do buy a bigger bag for roughly the same price at Walmart normally, but I'm not going to Walmart right now, so we're just gonna grab this one. So we are going to find us a nice juicy lemon while knocking all the other ones off. Let's see. These are all so cold. This one's good. This one's good. So we're going to get ourselves a lemon. I will buy Kerrygold if it's on sale. I will not buy it at Publix because it is more expensive here than it is at other places like Walmart, and even Aldi's carries Kerrygold. So I usually buy my Kerrygold and my eggs at Aldi's. But you can use the store brand as long as it is butter. They have so many different kinds, but I usually use either the store brand or Kerrygold. You just have to make sure that it's full fat. Regular cream cheese, you don't want to get half fat or reduced fat. I am going to get the Philadelphia brand because that's just my preference. But you need 3 8-ounce blocks for this. You can use the store brand, it's on preference. I just prefer Philadelphia. Alright guys, we are headed back from Publix. We're gonna go and set out some of our ingredients because they have to be at room temperature before, excuse me, sorry, there's a speed bump, before we start cooking. So the eggs and the cream cheese should all be at room temperature. So it's best to just set them out for a few hours before you bake. They tend to blend better that way, mix better. So we're gonna go home, set all that stuff out, and then we'll start making the cheesecake. So yeah, we'll see you in a bit. Okay, so we are back in the kitchen where we have allowed our eggs and our cream cheese to get to room temperature. And we are going to start out with making the crust. For the crust, you're going to want to preheat the oven to 300. You definitely are going to want to make sure that you have a 9-inch springform pan, one that is easily taken apart like this after the cheesecake is done, and then it goes back together. Okay. So for the crust, we're going to start off with some almond flour. This is, I believe, Walmart brand. We are going to do 1 1/4 cup of almond flour. Now we are going to add our Swerve. For the crust, you need a 1/4 cup. And this is supposed to be, it's gonna turn out kind of like a shortbread cookie crust. And then we need a 1/4 cup of melted butter. I have store brand. You can use any kind that you would like. Anything works as long as it's butter. Okay, so now that we have melted our butter, we are going to add in a teaspoon of vanilla extract, a pinch of salt, and 1 large egg. So add all of that, and then pour in the butter. And now you have a cookie-like dough, like shortbread cookies. You get that all mixed together really, really well. Put that aside for a second and get your spring form pan, and we are going to spray. I'm using coconut oil spray. Now we can put this in the pan. Will spray my hands and pat this down. This way I know that it is spread out evenly in the pan, and it just makes it easier, you know? Some things are just easier with your hands. Don't come for me, y'all. This is something I'm making for myself. Now, if I was making it for other people, I may not use my hands, but I find that this is easier. We're gonna stick this in the oven. Remember, we preheated it to 300, and we are going to put it in the oven for okay, now that we have our crust cooking in the oven, it is 15 minutes that it needs to cook for. We're gonna mix our filling. So for our filling, we need 3 8-ounce blocks of full fat cream cheese. And we're gonna put those into the bowl. And then we are going to add a cup of Swerve. So now that we have those in there, we're gonna add 2 eggs. I do 1 egg at a time. First, we're gonna do a teaspoon of vanilla. All right, and then a half of a lemon. It's like my favorite smell in the world. Okay. So now we've got that in there, we'll put 1 of the eggs, and then we're gonna start whisking. Okay, so here is the crust after we've taken it out. It's cooked for about 15 minutes on 300. Now I'm gonna let this cool down a little bit because the pan is very hot and I have to pour this in here. But while this cools, you're gonna wanna turn your oven up to 350 because it needs to be at 350 to cook the rest. So we are going to take a couple minutes, let this cool down, and then I'll be right back and we will dump this into this and then throw it in the oven. Okay, so now that this is cooled down, you can touch it and you'll see that it's cooked a little bit, but not all the way cooked. So now we are going to put this in here. Oh my gosh. All right. So I'm just gonna level it out here as best as I can. And look at that. It's so pretty. Look at how beautiful that is. Now, this goes into the oven for 30 minutes at 350. And then after that, you're gonna want to take it out and let it cool to room temperature. And then comes the hardest part of the entire recipe. You have to put it in the refrigerator for 5 hours before you can cut into it. That's the recommended. I can't promise that I've always waited that long, but it's definitely better cold. So we're gonna put this in the oven and then I will be back to show you the end result as soon as it's done. Cheesecake after a 5-hour set in the fridge. You can see it came down a little bit. It's nice and brown on the sides. It looks so pretty and yummy. I did decorate it with some blueberries and strawberries, which are keto approved in moderation, just to make it look a little prettier. And that's it.
All right, hopefully you enjoyed this video. As promised, I have included the macros and I will leave the complete recipe in the video description. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe and turn on your bell notifications. I'll be coming out with new videos every week. Never be afraid to play with your food and keto on, y'all.